evening, everybody. Welcome. Dadman Walking 55 here with the last regular season edition of the 2023 SEC Football Weekly with Dadman. What a nice self-serving title, but hey, why not? We're Southern, we go big, and we're Florida. So, hey, this week, hopefully we Gators can make up for, I don't know, kind of a crappy season that's been so far. But, like everything, had the highs, had the lows. Football season rolls around. As I get older, I swear it goes so much faster than it ever does before, or it has since I was a kid. So what a great season. Last night, go back and look at our video last night where we talked to Culture Casino for about almost an hour and a half about the business side of sports. Everybody judges sports as all sports ball and games and whatever. No, we hit some heavy topics last night between the name, image, likeness to the transfer portal to coaches' contracts, which we might hit on one of those tonight briefly with Lorena and her expertise, and, of course, conference realignments. But, hey, that was last night. We're going to announce a collab with a bunch of other people in a couple weeks. So, hey, let's bring her on. What other better person to have in rivalry week? The Thanksgiving week is rivalries in the SEC, but who better to have for coming back for an encore this week for the Florida State week? None other than the Queen of Florida herself, the great, amazing Lorena Creole. Hello, Lorena.
Hello, Dadman. How are you?
I'm well tonight. I'm actually excited, happy, and glad to have you back because this is 2 years in a row. I could not think of anybody else to have this week. Forget Alabama and the Auburn people. I love my viewers over there, but Florida State week has big memories for me, and you're the perfect guest for this week.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Exactly. I know you're one of the busiest people around anywhere, and it's always great to get to hang with you and talk to you, whether it's on your channel or in over here. So, and you've been a great supporter to me, the missus, and all of us, and Ang. So we thank you as a friend. One of the streamers I really consider a friend beyond just co-conspirators, I like to call it. But I don't know. Maybe the mouse will come after us one day. We tend to be kind of opinionated on the evil empire. But there's so much news we could talk about that today, but we won't do that today. We'll save that for another time.
All right.
Exactly. We'll be good. We'll be nice. We'll play the game. But hey, oh my goodness, folks. Lorena, how are you doing these days? What have you been up to lately?
Oh, well, shoot. There's a lot everywhere, somewhere, lots of places. Most notably, getting connected with the That Park Place crew through WDW Pro. So I've been on Pro Live a lot and streaming a lot. Apparently, people really enjoy my pain of watching things like, say, Ahsoka. So
you made it bearable for us all because I watched in the members stream. I did not dare to watch it on my own. I never went back and watched the last episode.
Yeah,
we can take a little. Pain. Yeah, you can talk about it a little bit here. You're the guest, so hey, let us know what you really think if you feel.
Oh no, I do no. Show was flipping awful. It was absolutely awful, and I had high hopes for it because I'm a Rosario Dawson fan, so I'm like, hey, Rosario Dawson, it's gonna be great, and it really wasn't. It wasn't really all that great, and I noticed that when I would post clips of me reacting during the member watch parties, that just took off on Twitter. So I'm just like, if you folks can enjoy it, it's worth the pain. And plus, with the members in there, when we all watched it together, it was fun. And much as that series sucked for the most part, you guys in the chat and the comments were just pure gold.
It was like a group effort. It takes a village. Well, it took a village to get through it because, I wanted to be fair with it. I tried to watch it fairly, and I tried to say that I can try to do it. I'm not as negative on the Marvels as a lot of people, so I think I can be fair to things. But that there was no saving Ahsoka. That was just
No.
bad television, just bad television. It was boring, no music.
Television.
Well, I'm doing a Friday night review, except we're off the next couple of weeks with the holiday. But Buck Rogers' 25th Century from the 1970s, the TV series,
Classic.
and we also did a one night episode on Battlestar Galactica. The music was such an integral part of those TV shows back then. It was like being at a movie. And that's one thing with Ahsoka. I didn't, not just Ahsoka, like a lot of the other shows, they don't seem to incorporate the music as another movement.
No, they really don't. And that's the era of, I want to say, like, was it Jerry Goldsmith, I think? And the music was just as much a part of the show as anything.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have an absolutely amazing score and an amazing theme song because, okay, back in the day, folks, when there wasn't streaming or anything like that, you hear the music, your TV show, is on. So it's a shame how that's gone away. I mean, hopefully people like Hans Zimmer and I am blanking on the guy who did the soundtrack for Oppenheimer as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Well, just the whole television series are different, and that's one thing I noticed when we went back and watched those sci-fi. It's like the music carries the sci-fi or science opera or whatever you want to put it in what category, but it's just it's crazy. It's interesting. So, well, let's go ahead and say hello to the chat. We got 5 people watching, 3 on the YouTube side. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe. Hey, and we finally got over 500. The third time was the charm. We're at 514 now.
Right.
And we've announced, but we're gonna have a celebration in a couple weeks on a Tuesday night. So I'm gonna talk about that. Also, we got to do something for the Twitch side because we're at 105 followers on the Twitch side.
Excellent.
So we're gonna have to do something for them over there. Thank you. Well, great people like you and other creators that have helped get the word out and the support from great people like you and our viewers. We are not here without the viewers. So let's say hi to the chat real quick. We got Lorena herself. Hi, say hi to yourself, Lorena.
Hi, yourself.
And the great AFK Bard, who actually was one of our guests a few weeks ago. AFK.
Hello.
Good to see you. And AFK
seeing ya.
Wishes you a happy Thanksgiving. So
happy Thanksgiving, my dear.
All right. And sharing the love and also the love. Mrs. Dadman Walking. Hey, good to see you tonight.
Oh.
All right. So we got Lorena Creole here. This is not our normal night for this show. Our normal night has been Thursdays at 8 p.m. But, there's college football Thursday night featuring the Egg Bowl with Mississippi State. And not sure we could get this guest on Thursday night. So, hey, we're doing it tonight. And if people watch it on replay, we'll do it. We're going to sit here and have fun for the time we've got. All right. With that, Lorena, are you ready where we start off we look at last week's action real quick?
I am ready. Let's do this.
All right. Let's go. All right. So, yes, exactly. So, hey, if you see anything on the thing, the screen that gets your attention, you want to comment, feel free to do it. If you happen to watch any of the games, that's fine. Stop me at any time. We're going to try to get through this a little faster than normal because I want to spend a lot of the time with Lorena about football memories specifically and looking towards her picks for this week because I'm curious about how she picked some of these games and some Florida State week. We got a lot coming. But remember, first and foremost, this is not a site for gambling. We're just friends here talking football and just having some fun together.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. So, and I like to tell people, if you try to take my picks and use it for, my dad always said, a fool and his money are soon parted, you got to go. It's just, we're here for fun, and that's what we're going to do. So let's look at what happened in the SEC last week. We had some paycheck games, and we had some regular conference game. Of course, Alabama, the Crimson Tide, roll on 66-10 over UT Chattanooga, massing over almost 600 yards of offense. Jalen Milroe, 13-16, 197 yards, 3 more touchdowns. He's on fire. This was one of the keys to Alabama this season that I figured about was how Jalen Milroe could perform as a passing quarterback, and he's passed the test this year. He was benched or didn't play against USF down in Tampa where they had to delay. That was an ugly, ugly game that Alabama escaped with, but after that he came back, turned on the Jets, and Alabama has been cruising ever since, knocking off all challengers. So you can see Jermaine Burton for Alabama had 3 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. So, UT Chattanooga actually had a running back that ran for over 100 yards and a touchdown. So, any thoughts or looking at the numbers?
Well, I like Alabama. So, I mean, it's obvious looking at this. They're just, they basically crushed it. But besides the score, number of first downs, their possession time was not as long, but you know what? It's not always the time of possession. It's what you do with that time of possession. So you can see with how many yards, how many passing yards, how many rushing yards. I mean, there's just no There's just no really comparison. And the turnovers, I don't really look at too much unless it's like really bad.
Yeah, and it can happen. It can happen. Yeah, that time of possession, that's a good point, because a lot of times people think you had the ball longer, you automatically win, but it doesn't always happen that way. Now, we'll see. This is what we call a paycheck game. UT Chattanooga goes to the Alabama, gets paid $1 million or whatever the fee is to go on the road to finance their programs and stuff. So, going to be slaughtered. Well, guess what? That does not always happen according to plan. We might see something about that. Yeah, my resident Auburn fans aren't here tonight, so it's like, Auburn fans, my Alabama fans, should be an interesting week for them. FIU goes on the road to play at Arkansas. Arkansas struggles this year, but they managed to beat the Gators in Gainesville. But they Razorbacks hold tight at home. KJ Jefferson 15 of 28 for 187 yards, 3 touchdowns to the air, and ran for 90 yards. Again, 2 turnovers for FIU. Arkansas holds the ball a little bit longer. This game was close at first, then in the second half, this point spread a little bit further. So this was a game I thought that FIU could have picked off, considering Arkansas has struggled so much this year. But Arkansas played well. I mean, they pulled it out and pulled away at the end. Almost 500 yards of offense, and they've struggled on offense at times this year. But ran for over 300 yards in this game. That's usually when Arkansas is effective, is when they're running the ball effectively. So, and KJ Jefferson, quarterback, also ran for 90 of those yards. Isaiah Augustave ran the ball for 101 yards. So Arkansas takes care of business at home against Florida International. Lorraine, it's just wrong that there's Florida schools other than Florida State, Miami playing football, and FAMU.
Yeah, no, FAMU. There's FIF, Florida International U, right? That's
Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic. Isn't there like Florida Gulf Coast?
Florida. They have basketball, not football yet.
They have basketball, not football.
Yeah, University of Central Florida.
Yeah, that's where if you can't get it. We'll probably say it's a matter of time and money. That's what the thing has been. Because if you can't get into Florida State football program or UF, then you wind up going to UCF. So,
well, I tell you what, I went one time with a friend to the Miami game at UCF. It was like it was like it was like Sodom and Gomorrah walking through that big public parking lot. You saw tents and all this stuff, and I swore that my kids never coming to this place. It was it was a father's worst nightmare. Like, no, I don't care if you want to go here, you're not coming here. So,
oh my God.
Exactly. He's like, no.
Oh God! Oh, sorry. I got a UCF story. I got to tell you. So,
hello, Admiral Teague. Yes,
I forget how. Oh, hey.
Hey, Admiral Teague. Okay, let's hear about UCF. Because they think that they're bigger than the University of Florida anyway. So,
It's a matter of time and money, and they still need consistency. But anyway, just because you were talking about how you went to, visit UCF, let's put it this way, this school, one year, I believe the president of the student union, uh, bought himself a Ford Escalade, Cadillac Escalade.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
well, didn't say I couldn't buy one, with the funding for the,
It's
Student
benefiting the
Government
student body in
Association.
general because he's
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah. I was just like, dang, this is what we gonna be known for. All right.
Nope. Oh my gosh! Wow, that's
Yeah,
brave. Uh, that's
yeah,
brave or insane. Oh my gosh, I'd never heard
yeah.
about that bad, especially when they're so open with it.
That and one of the most famous alumni that is not a football player would be Tosh of the Tosh Point oh TV show that used to be on Comedy Central. I think
Oh
it used
yeah.
to be. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh. Well,
yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Well, it's just funny how every Florida school now seems to have football except UNF and FGCU, and they just keep adding them. But hey, oh well. Let's talk about paycheck games that backfired. This is a paycheck game that should have been a win for Auburn, but
Ooh, yeah.
yes, New Mexico State is better this year. And our friend Pop Culture, a Small Time Republic, who's an Auburn fan, actually warned us a little bit last week that New Mexico State's pretty good. Didn't expect them to be this good going in Auburn. Auburn had actually won its sixth game last week and actually had put up some good offensive numbers. So you thought maybe they turned the corner. Well, no. Look at this. This is a case where time of possession is important. Almost 2-1, 38 minutes to 21 minutes. This was so bad the coach was apologizing for Auburn that it's like they didn't even get on the field.
Oh.
This is how at home getting dominated by a team.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get your butt kicked, as a visiting team, but home team?
You're the SEC. It's still.
Yeah.
I don't care how good New Mexico State is. You don't lose a game like that.
You don't. No, you don't. You don't. you
Well,
don't.
The domination, everything was like 2-1. Rushing, passing, first downs, time of possession. So NC Peyton Thorne was 15 and 19, 148 yards for a touchdown. Fairly effective, it looked like numerically, but they didn't have the ball enough. But then again, he was held to 2.2 yards a carry. And just, it's one of those bizarre games that, well, it's an upset that could have been called, but Auburn have been playing well, and especially in the last few weeks, seem to have found an offensive rhythm, but nope, they ran into the buzzsaw that are the Aggies of New Mexico State. Oh, my goodness. So, all right. Well, let's move on to the next one, unless you got to. But I got to hear, there's got to be some satisfaction to see Auburn lose like that to some degree. I like Auburn pretty much. I wish Florida was played Auburn every year, not LSU. So, but we will.
Okay.
Yeah, but you never know. Georgia State LSU. Why did they even play this game? What got me was Jaden Daniels. Look at the numbers: 25 and 30, 413, 6 touchdowns, another 2 yards on the ground. He was playing into the fourth quarter, even though they were only up 35-14. You talk about risking your quarterback. We're going to talk about that in the game we got coming up with Florida and Florida State. We got a case with 2 quarterbacks, it looks like. So so LSU does move on. They advance, but still too little too late for the conference, the Western Division. Another paycheck game, UL Monroe, one of the 10 worst teams in the nation. Ole Miss beats them handily 35-3. Almost 500 yards of offense. Again, UL Monroe had the ball longer than Ole Miss, but still not much. Jackson Dart was held to 0 yards rushing, but he still threw for 310 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ole Miss led 7-3 at half, so it was a struggle. It was a close game at the half, but then they outscored Louisiana Monroe 28-0 in the second half. So, and we got some good stories to tell about Ole Miss. And if we have time and get it, I might take a chance and try to play a little video. I might, and defy the YouTube gods. So hey, exactly. Howdy, Amanda. Good to see you, Amanda. How are you
Hey,
doing tonight?
Amanda. How are
All right.
you?
Over on the Twitch side. So make sure you follow us on the Twitch if you're not. Southern Mississippi State. What's significant in this game, Will Rogers returns from injury. It also marks the first game without Zach Arnett as Mississippi State's coach, who proceeded to not even make it 1 year as Mississippi State's coach. He was interim last year in the bowl game at the passing of Mike Leach. Won the bowl game, was given the job. And Culture Casino talked about buyouts. He's walking away with a $4 million buyout after 1 year. So, and I'm going to see if we have a second with that. So really, Southern Miss took a 7-0 lead early in the game. Mississippi State ran off 23 straight points until the third quarter, and then moved away from there. So,
I got to ask a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Where is South Mississippi?
Southern Mississippi's Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
You know what? It's a darn shame I don't know that, because that's where my grandfather is from. Well, some of his relatives are from, and I have been to Hattiesburg.
No, I know. Anyway. We drove through Hattiesburg once. There's a World War II museum in Hattiesburg that I need to get over to, though. You know, I see them. They have a podcast on. I got one of the executive directors of it has a podcast that I watch. I'm like, I got to get back to Hattiesburg. Miss this road trip. Oh, so that's basically it with this game. It marks a few significant events like that. This game, the Gators have surprised me this year with their ability to score points. Honestly, it was unexpected. And they went on the road to the number 11 team in the nation. They lost on a game-winning field goal with 5 seconds left.
Oh,
but look at the offensive numbers. There is no defense.
Yeah.
And this has been a characteristic of the last 6 weeks, is that there was a top 10 defense. And then since the Kentucky game, it's just been brutalized every week. I'll be honest. I mean, like we talked last night about coaches' impatience and contract buyouts. I don't care anymore. I felt like Billy Napier was overwhelmed last year. I thought they should have cut ties last year. In-game mistakes, false start, just that type of stuff. Then they hire this basically kid that was an analyst, the up-and-comer. You got an up-and-coming coach hiring an up-and-comer defensive coordinator, and look at what we got now. And it's just like, why? Yeah. Lorraine, it's so bad I've given up. I mean, I'm going to watch Florida State this week, but it's like the Miss and I said, to hell with it. We're going to do a drive stream last Saturday. We're like, football. You know, the Gators sucked the life out of me, but it's good. What's frustrating is when they do score, they usually fall way far behind where they can't catch up. But this is a game they actually had a lead at the end, but Missouri rallied to kick a game win. Oh, 4th and 17 also, Lorena. 4th and 17 hits the guy. Well, the Missouri had a 4th and 17 with about a minute left.
Yeah.
All the Gators had to do was stop one play. Couldn't get it. The guy was right in the middle of the field, wide open, and got the first down. And then they got in for a chip shot. So, but
you know what? Dang, I miss Steve Spurrier.
You're darn right.
I miss Steve Spurrier. He was, he was a piece of work, but he was a piece of work that won football games.
And when he didn't, he got inside of everybody else's head. Listen to the people in Rocky Top. They lost their crap with him all the time. Like, he was so in their heads. It's like, you can't spell citrus without UT. Yeah, they also got the Georgia Bulldog fans going. It was like, thank you, Coach Steve. You know, honestly, I wish that this dumb administration at the time would have hired him back when he came back for the NFL. But it was too much pride, you know. It's like, bring the man back, let him be the Gator coach for the rest. I mean, we did get Urban. Well, we got the mercenary for a few years, and we got a couple national titles. You have to acknowledge, but then of course, I call this dark period. We won national titles, but it was also pretty ugly at times when we look back at what was on those teams, what was allowed to happen, and at what cost, And then of course the guy leaves and recruits against Florida saying, don't let your kids go there because it's a bad environment. Dude, you created the environment. Urban Meyer, I called him Oscar. I called him Oscar Mayer a lot of times, but who might get another job somewhere else? You never know. But don't ask him about the Jacksonville Jaguars again. That experiment.
Ooh.
Oh, you didn't know about the 1 year? Well, he even lasted maybe half a season here.
I probably only halfway paid attention to that.
Well,
because Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't pay attention.
It was a very traumatic year that year, including flying back without the team. So lots of stories with that one that you can go have. But with the Gators here, it continues a tailspin with them, downward slope. They also lose Graham Mertz in this game. So we'll be having a Max Brown start next week, who actually in this game performed pretty well coming off the bench. So we'll see what will happen. And we'll talk more about the quarterback situation in Florida State. But Gators slide continues. We'll see what happens going forward. All right. South Carolina gets a late touchdown to beat Kentucky 17-14. Spencer Rattler hits Xavier Legette for a 17-yard touchdown pass for the go-ahead score with 7:44 left in the game. As you can see, Spencer Rattler was 19 of 27, 207 yards with 2 touchdowns and ran the ball for 24 yards. Xavier Legette had 6 catches for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. If you know anything about South Carolina, Xavier Legette is a heck of a ball player, great receiver. Definitely when Florida played him, he had a big game. So, So basically, Kentucky, South Carolina, this was like some people talked about last week. This was going to be the closest game of the week, and it turned out to be. So, all right, we will move on to Georgia, Tennessee. This should have been the game of the week. This really should have been the game of the week, but the Dogs go into Knoxville. There is no tearing down the goalpost and throwing them in the Tennessee River like they did when they beat Alabama. Yeah, last year when Tennessee upset Alabama, they stormed the field, ripped the goalpost down, and they march them out of the stadium and drop them in the Tennessee River. So, yeah, and they gladly took collections up for private fundraising to replace the goalpost. Even the athletic director was really happy about it. Yeah, but hey, Tennessee's a disappointing team. Tennessee's one that I figured early on I was expecting maybe to give Georgia a run. Just before the season, I kind of backed off a little bit because Joe Milton, their quarterback, is always hot and cold. And he did against Florida. They did not play well against Florida and lost that game. And now we'll see what happens with them. I know there's a lot of frustration on Rocky Top, but I still think they're in a good situation compared to Florida. They just lost some games they could have won or should have won. And of course, they just ran into this Georgia Bulldog team. This Georgia Bulldog team is just, they started slow like they did last year, but they're on fire now. They're just killing it. Anybody that comes, Kentucky got wiped out. Ole Miss got wiped out. But Missouri gave them a game. So hey, and yeah, thanks for coming by, Amanda. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it was good to see you. Oh, good to see you
too, my dear.
Absolutely. So, and check Amanda out over on Twitch also. So our good friend, I was just over there with her for a few minutes talking about Thanksgiving. And we'll spend a minute or two with that too. Actually, what happened with this game, Tennessee jumps out to 7-0 lead, 75-yard touchdown run on the first play of the game. And then Jalen Wright proceeds to carry the ball 8 more times for 15 yards the rest of the game. So they it's like a boxing match. You get one punch, you better make it count. And Georgia Bulldogs are the best team, I think, around. And look at the time of possession here. 40 to under 20 minutes. That is dominance. That is dominance.
Yeah, we might let you have the ball just to entertain ourselves.
I'm amazed how Tennessee rolled up 277 yards with only 20 minutes of possession. Oh gosh, but I will say it's good. But this should have been better game. Last year it was, it was a big. My kid got to see the game up there in Athens last year. Was near the Tennessee band. Said it was a riot. This game has special memories to the missus and me, because this was the game that many years ago when my sister got remarried was being played. For some reason, they decided to have a stupid wedding in the fall. So I'm constantly going out of the wedding out to the van to listen to the game. And it's the one where they had 2 Hail Marys in the last 20 seconds. So the missus kept like, where are you going? Where are you going? I'm like, I'm out listening to the football game. So she reminds me of that all the time. But hey, I got the great ending, but she also, we have a good laugh about that, Georgia, Tennessee. Let's see here. All ending up the week's action, Abilene Christian at Texas A&M. Speaking of Texas A&M, recently fired Jimbo Fisher, who is owed. I don't know if you heard our show last night. Jimbo Fisher is guaranteed, even if he gets a job elsewhere, $76 million.
How?
The contract.
So they got to pay out the remainder of the contract.
How badly written word, that's one of the things Culture and I were talking about last night.
Dang,
where's the accountability for entering into these things? Why don't you protect your assets? Why don't you say, no, you're not going to get this kind of a buyout, that we're going to limit it, or you pay back? It was just like he's got a good contract. He had a good agent. And at first I was hearing that maybe he had to get it if it only happened if he got another job. But everything I've seen has been that they pay him, and it starts like $20 million within 120 days or something, or 90 days. It's like,
dang.
But as we talked also last night, all this money is not in the government coffers. It's not in the universities. You got these sports athletic organizations, these direct support organizations that are separate entities. And that's how this stuff is all funded. It's not, in Florida, the government salaries are limited to $225,000 by statute. So that's why you can pay a university president more than a governor, because there's, they use it from private funds to supplement what they can do from state funds. So it's a shell game with a lot of this. Other people use different terms, but hey, Jimbo is riding off the sunset and can coach again. Watch him end up at LSU if LSU keeps its struggles under Brian Kelly. Watch it. He's had a history there, and just give him time. Brian Kelly's from up north. Louisianians don't really take kindly to people from outside, and it won't take much losing to change them. So, hey, Mr. Angel, good to see you.
Hello.
It said it started 23 hours ago. Oh, no.
What?
No, it started 33 minutes ago. But, oh, yes. And to you and Dadman, because if Dadman glances this way, the happy early Thanksgiving to everybody from AOK. Absolutely to you too. Welcome in, Mr. Angel. So I can see that. I love to see your expression on that contract buyout. They say that top 5 Power 5 schools, there's like $146 million are tied up in buyouts.
Dang. Who was his agent? Ari Gold? That
Jimmy Sexton apparently is one of the best ones out there, and gets us. What I'm trying to figure out is, why do you enter a contract to pay somebody that much for nothing? Why don't you treat it like it's your own money?
I don't know. It's probably desperation, or we'll get the money.
Well, Texas A&M is one of those schools with the big booster programs. They are,
if
you remember Kevin Sumlin, they fired him, $10.4 million buyout just before they hired Jimbo, and then they had to pay off FSU's coaches and stuff for them coming up. It's like they're spending money like candy, and that is where we're to our point last night is. This is the sad side that's changing college sports, and not for the best, but oh my goodness. And like I said, that could be another stream all of itself, but I figured I had to tell you about that one though, Lorena, a little bit before to get your reaction on that. So with where we sit currently at this point in the season, there are still a few conference games remaining, but the championship in Atlanta has been decided. First weekend in December will be Georgia versus Alabama. Georgia ran 8-0, played Georgia Tech this weekend in a rivalry game. Alabama squares off in his arch rival Auburn this weekend, 7-0, 10-1 at this point. We can see that Missouri is a surprise in the East, ending up it will end up second in the East. Tennessee, Kentucky, and Florida all vying for that. Well, Tennessee, unless they lose to Vanderbilt, should end up third, with the Gators Kentucky and South Carolina all next to just barely above Vanderbilt. Hey, at least this year Florida's not lost to Vanderbilt
Yeah, it's
or
not.
ended up with
Yeah,
Vanderbilt.
yeah. It's not, all the way there on the bottom. So that's good.
Still not our standard,
Better.
still not our
Yeah,
standard.
no, exactly. It's just
I actually had this team
yeah.
going 3-8 overall, or 3-9 overall originally. Then I talked myself out of it, and I went to about 8-3 or 7-4. I think 7. I think I did 8-4, but I mean they were headed there till the last several weeks, and the defense collapsed. I mean they lost some games that they could have easily
Mm-hmm.
won, but again, it's still coaching with me, and about the thing about coaching bouts. I think in this case it's one that's deserved because you know how sometimes you know that something doesn't fit, like when you're the probationary period and you have somebody and you're like, this just isn't going to work, you know. Yeah, that's what I felt early on last year. You got a small conference coach coming up to the big SEC. It's night and day. It's like taking a company of a mom and pop place, putting him in a big president of a major corporation with
Yeah.
stockholders. I just but so if you have any thoughts, please chip in, Lorena, with that. So let's see with this. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about our memories of football a little bit right here, and then we'll get into
Mm-hmm.
next week's action. But hey, do you remember the first football game you ever went to? I mean, even if it's on TV, but like maybe the first live action game that you've ever witnessed.
Like the first live game. Actually it would be a college game.
All right, that's
It
what we
would
love.
it would be a college game, and it was actually Penn State. The Penn State game.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't actually go into the stadium because I didn't have a ticket to go into the stadium, but I did what most other people did, and that is hang around alumni who had lots of food, crazy tailgating, and TV. So
Oh
it
wow.
was cool hearing the reaction in the stadium, and
Uh-huh.
then you'd hear it, on television.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like professionals. Like in high school, yeah, I was a cheerleader, so I was around football games, all the darn time. But yeah, the the college games were the ones that I really got to sit and see. Penn State. Um, the one time I think it was Penn State versus Florida at Citrus Bowl. So
Oh
there
yeah.
was that one. I remember that
Yep.
game. Couple of UCF games, but professional football, not really because of the ticket prices.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because you used to be up in Philadelphia, that area much. Did you ever get to go to an Eagle game or?
Um, no, I could have, but one, you first of all, you have to go to South Philly. All right.
Okay.
That's the first problem.
Oh yeah.
Two, you got to park at Lincoln Financial Field, which is not cheap to do that at. And the traffic is just a freaking nightmare. And the ticket prices, they used to be reasonable back in the day. They're not since they, leveled, they weren't using Veterans Stadium anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they got Lincoln Financial Field. So I have not. So
Mm.
I don't know when I will actually go to a professional football game because I have a certain kind of taste. So I'm not sitting outside. I need a box.
Oh, you need a suite, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh wow. All right. Well, that's okay. No judgment here. It's all good. Hey, at least if you're for the tailgating, that counts too. That's an outdoor experience. But
Yeah.
so your girl likes comfort, right? Like,
Yes.
all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I want the box, where they bring the food to you. And you just, you kind of sit there and
Have you
chill.
ever watched those old video reels of old football, like from the 50s and 60s, and you see these guys out there in ties? I mean, I can't believe it's that much hotter now than it was then. But I mean, imagine the culture then going to a game in a tie and a shirt like that. It's bad enough if you wear jeans on the wrong day, or then if it like in our case, the Miss and I went to one Florida Georgia game. I remember 47-7 because Spurrier just did it to the Dogs. But the first half was hotter. It was a typical Jacksonville hot, muggy, hot October. Massive storm blew through, thunder, lightning, everything. Then the second half was high winds and cold. The temperature plummeted like 30 degrees, and we're both sitting there wet and shivering. So it's like. Oh, I like Jeff Dunham. We saw Jeff Dunham here once. He said, "Yeah, welcome to Florida, the bipolar state." Because
yeah,
it's like, hey, it's happened at Disney too, folks. But at least there, hopefully, you have a hotel.
Yeah, you can. You look around and it's like it's sunny on one side, sunny, and then threatening clouds. When I would tell the fam, "Okay, changing plans, we're leaving." Why? You see those clouds over there? It's gonna start peeing down rain in like about 10 minutes. We got to go.
I know. Oh, it's not, Mr. Angel, there's nothing wrong with a tie. It's just in the Florida heat, you do not want to be wearing a tie.
Yeah, you don't. It's, imagine, okay, so basically imagine turning the shower water on really hot. Then put a shirt and a tie on. And then stick your whole body in there.
And it's hard enough just going to work.
Yeah.
Going to work where you're in a professional environment, having to wear a tie. Go walk into your car, especially if at lunch. It's, oh my gosh. It takes forever for your car to cool down. But yeah, it's crazy. Oh my goodness. Well, one of the first games I ever remember watching was Florida actually played LSU in Gainesville. And Florida Field used to not be that built up thing that it is now. It used to be built down. There was like a ivy wall, walkway, metal wrought iron, where you actually went from the street level and walked down to the north end zone seats. That's one of the first, with my uncle and my dad, and we went to Sonny's Barbecue out there, the original Sonny's, back when Sonny's was really Sonny's. But I'll stop there. But it's like before it became corporate frou-frou. But anyways, I kept going saying it. But you know what? Those are the memories that I had. One of the others was a Florida-Iowa Gator Bowl game. This was one where it was like 9 degrees at night. I mean, pipes were bursting, freezing up in the Gator Bowl that night. That was that cold. And it was just, I remember because there was Chuck Long was quarterback for Iowa. And so there's a gentle man behind me. He's like, "Come on, Chucky, baby, throw a touchdown." And I was this smart mouth kid, like, "Come on, Chucky, baby, throw an interception." And all of a sudden he did. And it's like every Gator fan around me just cheered. Like, it was hilarious. And I had my dad, my uncle with me on that. Although I love my dad, but the thing was with that game, my mom bought us these nylon, silky type undergarments. And I wouldn't wear them because I'm a boy, and I'm like, screw that. I'm not wearing those things, Mom. But my dad did. See, I was smart. I did the thermals and all that stuff because you remember old Gator Bowl, old bleachers, metal bleachers. Well, my dad felt it all during that game, and for 3 weeks after, he kept complaining about how his butt was cold still. It's like, and that to me is the memories of these college games. I mean, it's like the tailgating, the experiences like that, the family, the things like that. Do you have any other memories that just jump out at you with any special events? And whether it's at a game or it's at home. But say even if it's at home with family, getting around to watch a game on TV.
Well, they didn't really want to like watch football. I mean, my dad would watch it. Sometimes we'd have some relatives come over to like, to watch, to watch the game. Pretty much was like the Super Bowl, but never like, hey, this game is on, we're gonna all, sit around and watch it. So for me, it was just like, if it's a game I'm interested in watching, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch, and enjoy it. But some of my really, really fun memories is basically being a cheerleader and it's snowing.
Oh, wow.
It's snowing and it's cold and there's snow on the football field. But hey, guess what? Games still got to keep going. I'm like, this is freaking insane. But I remember that though. I totally remember.
Oh, man.
All of them. Yeah. like all of those times.
So you were at high school up north then? Okay, all right.
Yes.
Because see, I keep equating you to Palaca. You know, that's that's the funny thing. But
Woo!
yeah, it's like
No, that was fun going to a Palaca High School football game.
Oh boy, I bet. Yeah, I heard about some of them down there.
That was real interesting. I go to the concession stand and they're asking me something. I'm like, I'm sorry, can you repeat that in English for me, please? You're not from around here. Obviously, I'm not from around.
I know. Yeah, it's like we talked about. Be careful with those out of town plates. And let me say hello real quick to Max Redstone and Corey Cochran. Good to see you. How are you doing tonight? So thank y'all for being here. We got 7 people. Make sure you follow us on the Twitch side, hit that like and subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed on the YouTube side and getting your notifications, because weird things do happen these days. But yeah, it's just, gosh, Palaca, that is, I still cannot talk about that so many times. It's just the odds of 2 people having a commonality with Palaca. It's just like, you know, what do you figure? You have to go out of your way to get to a town like Palaca. It's so far off the beaten path.
You do. So, like I say, I know that one time that I got out of a potential speeding ticket was because I basically said, yeah, I'm going to visit relatives in Palaca. All right.
Yeah.
You can't make that up.
No. Yeah, you got to have a reason to be going to Palaca at that point, but it's pretty cool. But hey, it's such a good time. But yeah, I couldn't imagine what a game at the Palaca High School would be like. We've, you know, up in the big city is kind of getting kind of rough itself. You know, you've got to be careful too. But and plus Palaca's got that little trailer park right by the high school too. It's kind of interesting. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to move on a little bit in the remaining time, because we do want to spend some time on this week's game. Let me do this real quick. Coming through, looking at the AP Top 25, Georgia still by far number 1 in the nation. Ohio State has the only other first place vote. Alabama and Missouri are in the top 10 outside shots to cause playoffs, but they will need some help. Some of these teams ahead of them. Ohio State plays Michigan this week. One of them will lose, so depends on how far they fall below Alabama. Could the SEC still get 2 teams in? It's possible with Alabama, not likely with Missouri. I think Missouri's going to look back at the game they lost at home to LSU, where they had a big lead early. It's going to be what's kind of dampers their season, but still at 9-2, they've had a great year. LSU is 14, and 20 Tennessee is still hanging at 25. Oh, look, James Madison lost finally, and so they fell 6 places, but still in the top 25. Toledo is now in the poll. Liberty, who is in the conference with New Mexico State, is 22nd now. So we see the Beavers. My Beavers are, after losing to Washington in a disappointing game, 8-3. They play also in a big game this weekend, the Civil War against the Oregon Ducks. So, and just, you know, Texas at 7, so who beat Alabama. So we'll see what happens this week with these rivalry games all around the country, not just in the SEC. The coaches poll has Georgia's extended the lead again. At one point, Ohio State and Michigan were getting more for first place votes. So Georgia's lead had faltered, but now they're in command again in the first place spot. We see Alabama and Missouri and Ole Miss still in the same. LSU actually is still in the same spots. Tennessee's a little higher in this poll. But SMU, NC State, and Liberty all enter the coaches poll this week, while the Beavers fall 5 spots to 15. So any thoughts or any comments on these polls? I mean, any schools that jump out at you that you want to say? You don't have to. We can move on to the next.
I'm going to forget the fact that I see Florida State up there, number 4.
That is something, and well, I'm going to hit on something because people keep telling me about patience. We'll try to talk about that a little bit when we get to the Florida State game. We're going to spend some time on that game. And Corey Cochran says that he tries to catch your streams, but work keeps getting in the way. So,
that's okay, my dear. I know. There's some streams I can't get to because I'm working. So if you're watching on the replay, drop a comment, say I'm part of the replay crew.
Yes. All right. Okay. Let me take this question here. Folks, I love questions. So if I have to hold them for Lorena. I can answer them after we're done with Lorena, but I will answer this one. In this case, Liberty University is a very small school. It plays in a very small conference. So even though they play not as solid teams as like the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, that's why you see a school like that at 11-0, or Tulane at 10-1, or earlier James Madison at 10-1. That's why you will see them lower rate versus the higher schools, even like Missouri or Ole Miss at 9-2, because Ole Miss has lost to Alabama and I can't remember who else, but Missouri lost to LSU and to Georgia, two top ranked teams. So that's why you're going to see a difference in that. In this case, it has to do with level of competition, which is a big concern, a big debate, and a lot of times when it comes to national championship perspectives, because sometimes these teams like let's see, all top 15, 16, 17. Okay, the top 17 teams are big conferences or Notre Dame and big independent. Tulane is a school that normally, if they were higher in the poll, would be on the outside fringe. It happened to the Cincinnati Bearcats a few years ago, where people, they may be undefeated, but because of strength of schedule, the computers and human polls, they're not rated into the top 4 to get into the playoffs. Next year, the playoffs will expand to 12 teams, though. So it will be a different picture this year. This is the last year we had the current model with only the top 4 teams. And as you can see, we'll see. Let me go ahead to the next poll, which is the college playoff, because this is not what goes. This is the poll that matters. The college playoff rankings, because it's a combination of computers, people, polls. You can see Georgia and Ohio State flip places this week. Alabama's at number 8. Everybody else has remained the same.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the poll that matters. So this would be your top 8 teams. This would be the current playoffs: the Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State at this point, as it currently stands. Now it also depends on this week's action and next week's championship game action. Lorena, did you have a question?
No, I didn't have a question. I'm just trying not to hiss at Ohio State.
Oh gosh.
I mean, Michigan, I can give Michigan somewhat of a pass, especially whenever they beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
But Ohio State is a huge Penn State rival. So yeah.
Well, when they keep also insisting on the word "the" in front of their name, a little bit full of themselves,
Yeah.
We
know who you are.
Yeah. I like to call them just Ohio State just to irritate them sometimes. So it's like that's a Florida man twist the knife in the salt in the wounds. It's like, oh, you don't like it? Hey, I'll do it again. I don't care. Oh, so that's where the playoffs rank. So let's look at this. So this is the week's action in SEC. So we're going to talk some football now coming up. I really particularly want to spend some time on the Florida State game. In about 20 minutes we have left. So Ole Miss at Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl. This is a game usually played on Thanksgiving night. Ole Miss and Mississippi State, the Battle of Mississippi, has had some historical moments over the years. Go ahead.
No, I just love how the Thanksgiving football games in the SEC are just, the dirtiest, nastiest, most acrimonious
they are
meetups. They just are. And they're wonderful.
They are. So I will tell you, because I'm going to take something. I'm going to experiment right here real quick, because this one warrants it, though. All right. Let's see if I can do this. So I do want to get to Florida State, but this one is the type of thing. It just, I should have had it ready. This is, I've told you about this event. This is an event I told you about before, Lorena. All right. This is the 2019 Egg Bowl. All right. You may remember this, Lorena, because I know I've shown it to you before. But hey, in case you've forgotten.
Yes, I do remember this.
All right. So Ole Miss is down 7 to get the tie, to try to score a touchdown. And I'm going to do the thing about staying where it's not too far. So, all right, the stops and starts. So the quarterback's back. Look, he's looking to throw.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Got the receiver. Got
Yep.
this receiver.
Mm-hmm.
All right, touchdown,
Yep.
Mississippi. And then there you go.
I remember that. Oh my god.
Old Piss. That's
Oh,
what we
Old
called
Piss.
Old
Yeah.
Piss. So, but yay, which got him a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, and then they missed the extra point. So I had
You know
to share that.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was worth it. I mean,
I, I had to share that one. I've shared it before, but I
oh
had to share
my
it to see it with you guys, good folks. So,
god.
oh my god.
I'll never forget that. Woo.
Oh, Mr. Angel says, I figure out most physics happening as a star, but swear American football is a mystery for a European like you. There's so many college leagues, you'd never get a hold of it. So
Yeah, the SEC is the only one that matters. I put that. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So Lorena said, if you want them to lose, Lorena, I can just become a fan. I was a fan of Michigan and Detroit Red Wings. No one won the title from then on. Mr. Angel marking his territory. Yes, he did. He actually got harassed about it. I mean, because they missed the extra point after that. So he was getting a lot of grief for it. Rightfully so. But hey, all right. So this game, Ole Miss at Mississippi State. We'll see what happens as a big rivalry. Missouri and Arkansas is becoming a Thanksgiving Day rivalry. Used to be Arkansas and LSU until Missouri. I don't know why it got. Missouri just doesn't feel right in this league. But we got that game. It's Arkansas's. Not much to say about them, other than they beat Florida and then they won last week. But still, really a down year for the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Iron Bowl, Alabama at Auburn. This game is also famous. We had two of our Auburn fans here this year.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most famous plays was the kick, where Alabama tried a longer field goal, and it ended up short. But Auburn's put a return man back, caught the ball at right just inside the back end zone, and ran it all the way for a touchdown. So, B from O was working concessions that night. He said they heard like the stadium was going to fall down and all that stuff. And the Small Town Republic actually was there to watch it. It was interesting getting two people's perspective from an Auburn standpoint there, because I'm sure if you're an Alabama fan, you were like, "What just hit me?" So it's really really chaos. It was really interesting to see with that. Georgia at Georgia Tech. Again. This game is in Atlanta. There's a little bit of hatred, but one-sided. Jeff Collins was fired last year with Georgia Tech, so still in another rebuilding year, still trying to get a more modern offense away from the Paul Johnson running game. Kentucky at Louisville is another rivalry game. Texas A&M, LSU. Clemson and South Carolina is a big rivalry game. Oh, yes, hello, Miss Martin Muses. Good to see you tonight. How are you doing?
Teresa?
Well, what happened last year was that this game not only did South Carolina beat Tennessee by scoring 63 points, it was horrendous, but South Carolina went on the road and won at Clemson in a shock that ruined Clemson's bid for a national title shot. So will it happen this year? Maybe, maybe not. Definitely two different teams. Clemson's not even ranked in the top 25 this year. And, of course, Vanderbilt goes on the road against the hated Vols in Knoxville. With that game too, the people in Rocky Top, disappointing year, but they'll be happy as long as they beat Vanderbilt. But then again, who else who couldn't except for Florida last year and Kentucky? But I can't live that down. But I want to come back to the game I want to spend a few minutes on because I know we have limited time. The Florida State game. Any particular memories of any particular game that you have with this rivalry?
Not really, because well, first of all, I was like, yeah, Florida's going to win anyway. But I would see bits and pieces of games. Like when the Gainesville relatives would come to visit, in Palatka, of course, we got to watch the Florida State game. So it was, our team was squarely Florida territory. So I'm not remembering any specific games that stood out. I just remember just the mascots and just the acrimony and all the crap talking that goes on, because this is for bragging rights every year.
And you don't go into Tallahassee wearing a Gator shirt like my boss.
Oh no,
My boss, who was retiring 20-something years ago, did that. He did that, and he got a waitress that was from Jacksonville, and like blah 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 blah, and he's like, "I'm from Mandarin." And she said, "You're from the poor side of Mandarin," and she zipped off before he could respond. It's like, I was like, he got so mad. He was like, that lady got $20 tips from the whole table that night because she got away with what nobody else could. But you don't do it, and sadly, though, your cars get keyed. I mean, it's just, that's where it gets too much, is when you do damage people or stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's where it goes too far. But it's that intense, especially when the teams are good. It's kind of, every time when the team's down a bit, it kind of, eases off a bit. But there's still no love lost between the two teams. But it is intense when both teams are high. Spurrier Bowden. Those were the years. Both teams were fighting at
it. I remember those games.
Exactly. And rest well, Mr. Angel. Hope you feel better soon. Take care.
I feel better.
I do have a memory about this game. Florida State. I went with my dad to see a Florida State game back in the 80s when and Florida won 35-3, back when it was the AstroTurf field. So I had that, and and also 1997 was a year when, Doug Johnson, Noah Brandeis, the rotating quarterbacks with Spurrier, they, the FSU fans were quack. Oh yeah, your quarterback can't throw. They were quacking and stuff like that, picking. Y'all got no chance to win. Oh, no chance to win. All this stuff, and so Spurrier came out with the rotating quarterback of that game because of the sign steals. Well, and it became one of those games, back and forth. Then FSU took a lead. Then Doug Johnson hit Jaquez Green way down the field. Fred Taylor runs in. They take a lead. Then FSU comes back, misses the field goal to win. I mean, to try to win the game, and Florida wins that game. That was probably one of the greatest games I've ever watched. It was so intense. My dad and I were screaming so much, mad. My mother left the house and said, "I can't deal with this anymore. I'm going shopping." So it was like in the first half. So it was great. But I will say on a very personal note, I love its fond memories of that game and stuff that happened. But that turned out to be the last game I watched with my dad alive.
Oh.
And that we lost him 25 years ago this year. Every time, so this game has a special meaning to me. I see parallels with that this year. I see Florida with no respect, the underdog coming in, they're at home. You don't know what'll happen. And, so that's another thing I love with college football, and I love my teams, and it's just things like that, memories you make with family and things like that. Cause like I say, it's people above streams, people above sports, people above things. And you love those around you every bit you can and every day you got, and cherish the memories you have and hold on to them. And, so this to me is probably one of the greatest history games I've said that I've ever seen. It was on the field, one of the best games you could ever watch as a Gator fan. And all the crap I got from the FSU fans Monday morning, they didn't want to talk to me. That's what happens in this rivalry too. They do a lot of talking.
True. That's true. I mean, I tell people football is major in the U.S., but football is a religion in the South.
Absolutely. Yeah. Texas, Alabama, Florida, all of them. So, all right. Well, how do you see this game coming this week? I mean, without giving your pick, what are just some initial general thoughts with this game?
With anyone in particular, or
Florida State, Florida? I mean,
Florida. I first, for sake of bragging rights, for the sake of just saving face, they have got to beat Florida State.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't care what y'all have to do. Yes. You cannot lose to that high school football program in North Florida.
Yeah, the former women's school, by the way.
Yes,
exactly. So
yeah.
And this is the type of thing you can ruin your rival's season. You don't have this is basically Florida's bowl game. They can't make a bowl game with only five. Well, I guess they could. I guess if they win this game, they could actually make it. I think it would be 6 wins, but still, you just and dumber things have happened. Stranger things have happened. You look at Florida, Georgia. You look at the Iron Bowl. You look at all these games. These rivalry games, you can throw the charts and stats out, the records many times, and especially when they go on the road like this. So, I mean, Alabama's got to be careful of Auburn. They do. Auburn gave Georgia a fit at home this year before they finally fell. But all right, shall we get into the picks then?
Let's get into
so we can see your methodology. So we go here. Last week I was 8-2. Whoopa Trooper was 8-2. You can see we've completed the whole year. It's just amazing. I'm at 79-17. Our guests are 73-23. You can see from Daisy Blossom to OC Dobbins. We had a replacement that week. B from O, Small Time Republic. MC Wale, a good hype man in Jacksonville, and JT Kirk, Martin D with a C, AFK Bard, Admiral Teague was in here, and now the great Lorena Creole. So let's go to the games. This is not gambling, as a reminder. So, hey, you're on your own.
Having some fun.
Exactly. All right, week 13 picks. And then the first game, Ole Miss at Mississippi State. Lorena, you picked the Dogs at home.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Any particular reason why?
Because my ex-boyfriend used to go to Ole Miss. I mean, I can't put it any more.
He didn't happen to be that guy that just peed on the field, was it?
No. He would have been way cooler. No. Nah. I'm particular to Mississippi State. So the fam that's out there, they kind of like to spit if they have to say the word Ole Miss,
Yeah. I understand that's one of those hated rivalries, especially in Starkville, Mississippi, with their cowbells. If you want cowbell, you'll get more than enough. That whole thing about we need more cowbell joke. You people go to Starkville, Mississippi, you're going to be so damn sick of cowbell. You won't joke about it anymore. They go to bowl games and they're allowed to bring their cowbells with them too. Normally you can't have noisemakers. So, but hey, I'm in this one going to go with the better team record. Statistically, Ole Miss better offensive firepower, even though it's at Starkville. I'm going with Ole Miss on the road with this one. Missouri at Arkansas. Lorena, you take Arkansas. You take the Pigs.
Yeah, I like Arkansas, home of Walmart.
Yes, we actually were near it. We were in Bentonville on our tour across the country for a night, but we didn't see it though. So
I like the Razorbacks, especially their mascot.
Yes, people like pigs very much. I know some people that like the piggies, but I'm going to go with the Tigers in this one. 10th ranked Missouri, having a good year, finishes it out on the road at Fayetteville. All right, Alabama at Auburn, Iron Bowl here, and I think we both take Alabama. Yes. So your thoughts on this one?
I'm a Bama fan. I am not a fan of Auburn whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah. Bama's my team, so I'm sticking with them.
Well, in spite of some of my great viewers that are, like I said, this is a different night than we normally do, that have been on the show too, that are my Auburn fans, I just got to go with the better team. Even though you're at home, crazy things have happened, can happen, but New Mexico State is all I say. New Mexico, you can't lose, especially getting a butt kicking at home to a team out west like that. You just can't. Alabama's going to, I think, roll in this game pretty easily. Okay, our game, Lorena. We got 10 people here watching us. Oh, right. Just in time to watch Lorena and us pick this game. We talked about it. We kicked it around. We talked some memories with it. Okay, Lorena, so how do you make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Yes. What do you see in this game, Lorena? Who do you go for?
For which one? I'm sorry.
Florida.
Georgia. Florida. Gotta go to Florida. That's a family legacy right there. So. I got to go with Florida.
I got you, and there's nothing wrong with picking with your heart. You know, we've had people use cheese, we've had people use dice, we've had people use color of band uniforms. By the way, Admiral Teague wants to know this question. I remember from last night. I don't know if he's still with us. If you can think on this while I'm talking, what is the favorite college band uniform that you might have that you can recall?
Oh, FAMU, of course.
FAMU. I thought you were going to say FAMU, the Marching 100. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, Admiral Teague, I asked the question. You got an answer there. Florida A&M. This game, I think, by everything on the field, would say take Florida State, even with Jordan Travis now out for the season. And Florida losing Graham Mertz also. So both quarterbacks are out. It'll be a backup quarterback. Oh, gosh, he's particular to his Arizona State Sun Devils. So if you get a chance to look that one up, it's Arizona States are pretty cool. But check out FAMU's. Everything says to pick Florida State, even with a backup quarterback. Offensive production, defense, Florida's lack of defense. Florida's favor is, look, they already beat Tennessee at home this year. Surprise game, a rivalry game. This is a rivalry game. All those things. I remember mentioning that game in 1997 with the FSU fans mocking Florida that so badly that year. This is a game where anything could happen. So in this case, I'm going hard. I'm going with the Gators. I'm going with the Gators to pull it together, and a lot because Florida State will be playing on the road for the first time with a backup quarterback. He's got the advantage because of the talent around him and Florida's weak defense, but let's see what happens. And I tell you, Max Brown looked pretty good for the Gators last week in emergency duty late in the game. So exactly, Admiral Teague, stop with the capes, because you know what? Incredibles told us you don't wear capes. Bad things happen to people that wear capes.
FAMU marching band has capes too.
Oh, they do too. Okay, well he's big with his capes, so
they got capes.
All right. Well, we might have to look at that sometime. I'll have to show you the FAMU ones, but I like to give my friend a little hard time out there. All right, so we both agree with the Gators on that. Georgia Tech. You're going with Georgia Tech at home in Atlanta. All right.
Yeah, I got to. Rambling wreck from Georgia Tech. Hell of an engineer.
And they got that little cute card that they drive on the field. That is always awesome with that card. So I'm going with the Bulldogs on the road. They're just too loaded offensively. They're not slowing down. Now it'll be a good game to watch them and Alabama play. That the two best teams will be in the two best teams will be in the SEC championship game the following week. So we move on to the last four games. Kentucky at Louisville. You take Kentucky in this one.
I did. No particular reason. I'm just partial to Kentucky's team.
All right. Well, it's a battle of the Bluegrass State, so Bluegrass is going to win. I'm going with Louisville because Louisville will be facing FSU in the ACC championship game. Jeff Brom's got this team playing well. It's going to be a weird ACC championship game, which we will have a conference special next Thursday night where I'm going to have to deal with the ACC. It's going to be a fun switch around of things. So, but we'll announce that a little bit more in just a few minutes. I'm going with Louisville at home. Kentucky's offense is really weak, except for when they played Florida, when nobody on the Gator defense insisted on tackling Ray Davis. It was always that game reminded me of the Florida game against Nebraska in the national championship game with the joke became this just in, Tommy Frazier scored again. That was a rough game that year in the national title game. Texas A&M without Jimbo Fisher goes on the road at LSU. You take the Bengal Tigers. All right. And I agree with you on that. Any particular reason here?
I like LSU. Texas A&M, I got issues with them. So I prefer LSU. Friends of mine from Louisiana. I got family in Louisiana. So
yeah. See, I want Texas A&M to have to buy out another coaching contract really quick. That's what I have against him. All right, this rivalry game, Clemson at South Carolina. You go with Clemson. Okay, all right. Any
Yes,
particular reason?
yes. I like Clemson. I prefer
Mm,
Clemson. I like their campus. I like the campus. I like their colors. So
all right.
I like
Yeah,
Clemson.
I love the state of South Carolina. We actually Columbia was a little run down, but up towards Clemson, up into that Spartanburg area, up in that
Mm-hmm.
northwest part, beautiful country. We actually saw the big solar eclipse a couple years ago there at a state park, Revolutionary War battlefield. So it's a beautiful part of the state. If you ever they had cheap gas too. Roads are bumpy, but they've got the most polite truck drivers, though, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Clemson also. I agree with that. South
Okay.
Carolina is on the fence. They got lucky last week. They outlasted Kentucky, but how long Shane Beamer can hold his job there. He'll probably enter that next season as a coach on the hot seat. And the last game of the week, you take the Commodores to get their first win,
Yes.
SEC win of the season. What?
Yes.
Why did you go with the Commodores?
That is because Tennessee is a rival of Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta go
Ah,
Vanderbilt.
all right. All right. I got that. And I'm going Vols at home because the Vols are 7-4, not the year they want, and they will not. They refuse to lose to Vanderbilt. I love the years though Vanderbilt did beat Tennessee. That's you want to hear some hooting and hollering. The people in Rocky Top when they lose to Vanderbilt, it is really really crazy. So let's see. So that's what we got for this week. Lorena, thank you for being here. I'm going to do a quick outro if you want to stay, or if you need to leave, you can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I gotta bounce.
but yeah, I appreciate you being here with us for so long, and appreciate you being here, and again for being 2 years in a row on this favorite week that you so gladly and graciously committed to many months ago. So
yes, I
yeah,
did. Yes, I did.
I learned that a long time ago. Key to planning is ask early, ask early, and remind people.
Yes, especially me.
And, well, I tell you, you and culture or something. I mean, he told me about all the communications he had in the time we were just talking. It's like I'd lose my mind. It's like forget having a daytime job. It's so popular. Lorena, tell everybody if they're not familiar with you about your channel, and before you leave, though.
Well, folks, you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, and of course on YouTube, where I do various videos and live streams giving you spicy pop culture sci-fi analysis, and I keep it real when it comes to theme parks. So thanks for having me on. I love doing this show
I appreciate it.
every
I
year.
I know, and we'll have to have a glorious 3 hour finale like Sam the Eagle. I'm a Sam the Eagle. Like we're gonna have a glorious 3 hour finale. Salute to all teams, but mostly the Gators. And then your
You
Kermit
got a
saying,
minute and a half.
and go check out Lorena's great theme park coverage too. Welcome to Florida on Sunday is it's a gateway drug into her channel for me as a viewer, and it's always an honor when you do have me on too, Lorena. It's like I said earlier at the start, you're not just a streamer, an acquaintance and stuff. You've become a friend to our family, and thank you for all you're doing
Oh,
for your support. We
well,
appreciate it so much.
you are so welcome. I'm so happy to support folks. Make sure you hit that like button. Tell your friends to subscribe to Dadman. We have got to get him monetized. So watch his stuff.
All right, thank you so much, Lorena. We'll
Thank
catch you next
you.
time, and happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving if I don't talk to you again.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving and happy Thanksgiving to
And
all of you
go
out there who
Gators.
celebrate. Yes, go
Go
Gators
Gators.
all day,
Exactly.
every day. Bye.
Bye. Oh, everybody, there's the great Lorena Creole. So, go share, go watch her channel. If you want great theme park coverage, one of the best around, a lot of positivity when it comes to theme parks, but yet we'll tell you like it is what she thinks. So definitely check her out. If y'all have any other questions or thoughts with the football, just let me know. We got a couple minutes here. Let's see. I'm going to look at something really quick. But hopefully go back and look at my show last night with Culture Casino where we talked about the business side of sports. There's a lot that we hit on that, a lot of heavy information. Go back, watch it, and have a good time with it and see what happens. So, and I am going to hopefully not wreck the stream with this, but let's see, go over here. So, all right. Ta-da. Let's see. Dadman multitasking. Hey, I might have actually done it right tonight. So let's go here. Let's go. Teague. See, there are capes on the Florida A&M band uniforms. So it's kind of a green, and the school colors are green and orange. So they do have the capes in them. They're famous for a lot of their dancing halftime performance along with playing. They're one of the hot college bands that is invited to a lot of places. Just forget the football team, the band gets invited. So just wanted to, and I did see other pictures where they don't have a cape. So it's probably one of those depending on the situation type things. I don't know, but they do have capes though. So just to let you know. And I tell you what, I really hope that y'all really enjoyed that video clip for the Egg Bowl from a couple years ago. The old piss incident was what they call it. So you never know what happens with these rivalry games. So, and that's all. So, well, folks, we're going to work to wrap up now early tonight because I may come back live tonight late, because I don't work tomorrow. And because of that, I can stay up late and have fun overnight. But, we shall see. That depends on some other things that are going on right now. But y'all with me still. Hey, listen, thank y'all for being Lisa. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Good to see you. How are you tonight? And like I said, go back and watch this if you can. Actually, and also, Lisa, I think you'll find last night's conversation with Culture Casino very interesting because we talked about heavy issues like the name, image, likeness, the paying of college athletes, the transfer portals, Jimbo Fisher's $76 million buyout at Texas A&M. Yes, he gets paid that much money just for not doing anything and get a job elsewhere. The conference realignments now where you have the Big Ten that's going to be from Washington State or down to the Los Angeles, up to Washington State, all the way to New Jersey. It's just crazy what's going to happen in the future with college sports. But let me go forward here a little bit. Thanksgiving Day, we are going to have a special with stream with Masters Maniac Mexico. You see him in our chats many times. He's also Rolo's Vintage Ventures on Twitch. Well, this Thanksgiving, Mrs. and I are planning on streaming with Masters, and he is actually going to be preparing a Mexican Thanksgiving meal live. So join us for this if you can. If you can't, you have your plans. Tune in for what you can. Catch the replay later if you can. But honestly, a lot of what we don't do is, to do something to bring some joy to people. And maybe if you're stuck at home this year, maybe if you're by yourself, maybe if you're sick or something, just something to bring some joy to people. So put the word out about this one. Thursday on Thanksgiving at 3:00, it'll be between all the football games and stuff. And yes, I figured you would be joy to see this one. Yes, Masters is a great guy. We talked to him in person for the first time the other day and was really, really cool. Really, really good to meet Masters. So join us that for Thursday. Also, next week from Thursday, there are no scheduled streams from Thanksgiving Day until the following Wednesday, which is scheduled to be my another Walking and Rambling with Ang, which I forgot to include in the slides here. But the next Thursday with this is coming up is a college football championship preview. My special guests are going to be Whoopa Troopa, who is going to be bringing the information on the Big 12 Conference, JT Kirk from the Big 10 Conference. Small Time Republic will take the SEC. Normally I do the SEC, but I am going to swing over and hit the Pac-12, being an Oregon State Beaver fan, and the Atlantic Coast Conference. We got Florida State, Louisville in that one. Pac-12, I think, is to be determined. Going to be a fun time with this, folks. Going to be a fun time with this one. If this is one to geek out, nerd out on some football with this. So join us for that. Also, December 3rd, our friend Carol Morales, Cred Sox, as you know, played Fortnite with us a lot. Went to Hawaii this year, and she graciously took a lot of pictures of from there, specifically at the Arizona Memorial. So we're kind of going to look. We're going to look at the pictures that she took from that trip and look around the memorial. Very moving thing, moving memorial. Very, if you know the history, very, the start of World War II for the U.S. With the surprise attack. You just a lot of history there, a lot of history and a lot of commemoration of men that never returned. And, and honestly, you see part of the Arizona there, that are entombed there forever. So join us for that. We're going to look at the pictures. We're going to look at the museum, different things, and see from her firsthand what the visit there was like. So join us with that. Of course, Sunday, December 3rd at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, a special time. Let's see. Also, December 5th at 8 p.m., make plans to be here with me. 500 subscriber celebration on the YouTube side. We will also have something at some point for the Twitch side. I've got to work that out. But this will be a YouTube celebration. Bring your friends, neighbors. Let's get another 100 and get 600. And, and let's enjoy that together and have some fun. Format will depend right now. I'm not sure how I'm doing it. But I probably will look back at the channel where it started, where it's gotten to. Especially if you haven't been with the channel for that long, or maybe even the last 8 months. Come and let's look back together and take a look at the journey and along together with us. And thank you to everybody. 9 of y'all that are still here with me. Thank y'all for being here. Couldn't do it without you guys. I could not do it without you guys in the chat and coming to these shows. I could not do it without Mrs. Dadman walking, period. She first and foremost. Above all, I could not do it without the work, the time sweat she put into this channel that she does. These graphics are all her. And, make sure you, and actually speaking of that too, let me, I don't know if she stuck a slide in here for herself, but I am going to take a moment and I am going to put her channel in here because I want you to go support her channel. Link to, go subscribe to her channel. She does a daily show at 9 in the morning, and positive. It's daily dose of positivity. So, I'm just going to do the YouTube channel for now. So there you go for the YouTube channel. Go if you haven't already. Go subscribe. Tune in at 9 o'clock in the morning. Get a daily dose of positivity. Then join her for that. And then she has different builds. I think tomorrow she's planning on a build in the afternoon. I don't know if she's, like I said, I don't know if she stuck the slides in, but hey, go check. Subscribe to her channel. Turn on the notifications, and you will see her. When she goes live. And yes, Mrs. Lisa, Morning with Mrs. wakes you up. Oh, that's cool. Fun with tea or coffee. Oh, that's cool. That is good to see. We actually talked coffee, I think, the last few days. But yes, I know a lot of people like the tea. So, all right. So that's the Mrs. channel. Put it on your calendars. Oh, Miss Martin Muses, and good night to you. Thank you for being here for so long. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for your support. Miss Martin Muse is another channel. Go check her out if you have not. Great lady. Love talking the Civil War with you, Teresa. That was wonderful, Teresa. I could have spent 20 hours talking that with you, but thank you for having me on your channel so much that day. And tomorrow, the missus at 3 p.m. tomorrow, the Badlands National Park mini brick build. So join her for that. Let's see. All right, I'm on the wrong thing there. So actually trying to do something. I'm multitasking, Lisa, but I'm doing important multitasking. That's also, it's important. Sometimes multitasking is important. My problem is I can't talk and type. I'm really the world's worst talker and typer, but I also want to put this out there too. If you haven't, also go check out Teresa Martin over Miss Martin Muses. Here's her link there. Thank you for, like I said, she had me on the channel. It was a great discussion, and we enjoyed it. So remember, 9 a.m. in the morning for the missus, 3 p.m. for the Badlands National Park mini park Badlands National Park mini brick build. Jeez, that's a mouthful. So the Miss will have her streams for a while going and stuff, and I will kind of support and do things and maybe do some random streams like Chill Chat or something like I did last night with 21 likes overnight. This was like after midnight. It was like crazy. So yeah, always is. So hey, Chill Chat or something. Now, like I said, I see also Fortnite with Dadman and friends can be impromptu. Be watching for some impromptu streams with me with the rest of the week off in the daytime and other times. But later tonight, I'm looking at going late night with some friends. Probably just mess around. We'll talk some memes. We'll just babble about stuff. We'll come up with things to talk about. So make plans to keep an eye for the notifications on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch. So for impromptu fun with that. So now, and also remember, live streams and videos are on youtube.com, twitch.tv, all at Dadman Walking 55. My streaming schedule, you can keep up with me at Dadman Walking 55 on Twitter. Make sure you are subscribed because things happen. Make sure your notifications are still on where YouTube. Things have changed with that. Follow notifications for Twitch also. Always note, but your backup is to follow me at the real Dadman Walking 50 at Dadman Walking 55. That Twitter account where I almost always tweet from there when I go live and before I go live and a preemptive go live. So join us for that. There's all your addresses. And hey, we won't see you next Thursday. Well, I guess we will see you next Thursday for more college football with our ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12 conference special show. And on that note, everybody, we made an hour and a half. Y'all have a great night. Thank you for joining. Make sure you've hit the like button on the way out, and you have a great night and see you hopefully later tonight. Bye.